Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Chris, and today is episode 3 of building Endor in Lego. In the last video, we started making this tunnel design here, and we also worked on the exoskeleton of the mock and also some of the basic terrain designs as well. But I think this tunnel design here is looking really good. I'm going to place an order for some more pieces, especially the 1x2s and the 1x1s. And all the other small pieces that I know I'm going to need a lot of. So I would rather get that out of the way instead of waiting to get those orders going. So that is something that I'm going to do in the near future here. But this is, again, just to kind of show you guys the basic tunnel design that we've been working on here. It is essentially a row of tiles, spring-loaded shooters, some bricks, and then the middle here is actually oriented differently. So instead of the brick studs facing that way, and then this side has the studs facing that way, the studs are facing left and right here. And so pretty much this just rests right in, and it's a lot easier with two hands. But the gap at the bottom here is just caused because I don't have any more 1x2 plates like I did right there. So that is something to, again, order pieces for as well. But this basic design here, I think, looks really good, and so we are going to hopefully continue some more of this in this video here. But the main thing that we're going to be doing is finishing the exoskeleton. I am still waiting on a couple more pieces for that, but I do have some 16x16 plates left over from the last video, and also I am expecting to get some more 16x16s as well in the near future. In combination of all of those pieces, that will be enough to finish the exoskeleton, which is what today's video is going to be for. And we're also going to be doing a lot of detailing like this as well. I want to go in and I want to cover this backside because it is mostly dark tan at the moment. So I want to go in and I want to cover that in mostly green. And we don't need to do all of the tiny little details of vegetation, but I want to get all of the plates in as well. And we already got our first order in. So this is great news. So we are going to open this one up and I will show you guys what's inside. All right, so now that this box is open, let me show you what's inside. First up here, we have some brown 2x12 plate. This is going to be for the front of the mock, which we are also going to work on in today's video. And next up here is some brown 2x6 plate, which again is for the same purpose. The next thing is white 2x2 brick. And so this is just basic mills plating. It was cheap and figured I'd pick them up. It's not going to get me very far. You know, it's only 25, but still good to have. And same thing with these dark tan 1x2 plates. You always need more when you're doing something like this. Up next is a couple dark tan 1x6 plates and these two old black hinges. And the seller had them for cheap, so I figured I'd pick them up. And the next group of pieces here is the 2x8 brown plates as well. There's a large quantity of these, which is really, really nice to see. Up next here is white 2x2 round bricks, and there's almost like 170 or 180 of these in here, so that's great to see. These are going to be for the mills plates, which is really good. And then up next here is the tan 6x10 plate. This is actually not for the clone base. This is going to be for the city, for the beach area. That video is already live at this point, but again, be sure to check out that video. Up next is the dark tan 6x12s, and that's going to be for the clone base and to help kind of even everything out because as it is, the 16x16s are kind of rigid. And next is these dark turquoise 1x2 plates. They were pretty interesting and they were cheap, and I don't have this color in my collection yet, so I figured I'd add it. And next up is these curved brown slopes here. And the last few things here is just a few droid bodies. Those are always good to have when you're building a Star Wars mock. And then the 2x10 reddish brown plate. This is, again, really handy to have for nature work and the details in the mock, and then a few 1x4 plates as well. Okay, so here is one more Bricklink order before we get started with mills plating and all of the landscaping and stuff like that. And so I'm going to try and speed through this as quick as I can. There is 1,000 2x2 bricks, some masonry bricks, some dark bluish gray slopes, and then up next here we have some 1x2 plates in various colors, including reddish brown, olive green, light gray, and also dark bluish gray as well, and dark green. Can't forget about that. That's very important. And then the rounded 1x2s in light gray, the 2x2 plates in olive green, light bluish gray, and reddish brown in the half tile variants. And then up next is the 1x4s in all the colors, reddish brown, dark bluish gray, light bluish gray, And then the 1x1s in dark bluish gray and a bunch of various colors. These are all starting to repeat. And then the 2x2 snot pieces, these are extremely useful, so I figured I'd pick these up. And then the paint rollers are just interesting. Now, I thought that would be pretty cool to have. And then some 1x3s, 2x3s, and then some 2x2 curved slopes, and some 1x1 studs with the hole in them. And now here we are starting to finish the mills plating over here. I'm extremely happy with all of this, and I'm thinking that it looks good. We are going to go in later in the video and add some more height to this, so don't worry. It does look really flat right now, but in a couple minutes, we're going to go in and we're going to add a bunch of height, and then we are going to add all of the plates on top as well to make it look like it's grass. And I'm swapping out a couple of green ones in the back just so I have enough dark tan for the actual path itself. And then the green is going to be for landscaping, and then all of the stack of 16x16s is pretty much extra. Now, when I say extras, I don't actually mean extras. I mean, we are going to keep these on hold for the time being, and I'll explain that in just a second. But I think this area looks really good. We are going to go in and fix all of this up in just a second here, but I want to give you guys a little bit of an overview as to how this is all starting to shape up here. And I know this part all the way on the left is not done yet, but that is because the base is going to be its own video. But this tunnel is starting to shape up pretty nicely here. It looks relatively similar to how it did in the start of the video, but we are going to go in and we are going to fix that up eventually. I don't think that's going to happen in this video just because there's a lot of other pieces that I need to get as well, like smaller slopes and inverted slopes and also spring-loaded shooters. I'm actually out of those, surprisingly. So, but the wall detail looks good, and I also need to get some 1x2 translucent clear plates as well. So that's another thing that I want to do before I add the 16x16s on top. So that's why the stack is there. That is why that is the way that it is. We're going to leave that stack for the time being. So they are technically extras at the moment, but they will get used in this mock before it is completed. And then the lowered section is obviously the path, and then we are going to gradually slope up to the rest of it, and then we will change the 16x16s as needed. And I'm really excited for this. I think this is going to turn out really, really good. And then eventually we can get all the figures in and all the foliage in and the trees as well. The trees are going to be quite the project though, so definitely stay tuned for that. And then this section over here is going to curve into the clone base itself, which again, I have not started yet because I need to figure out the river placement and also the angle of the base as well. So you can see those white bricks and the yellow ones as well on that angle. So I need to figure out how exactly I want to go about doing that. And then I also need to figure out this front section right here where the tunnel is going to connect to the rest of the base. So that's a whole other project in and of itself. But I'm really, really happy with how this is starting to shape up here. I think this is looking really good. And then I'm thinking maybe we put like a bigger room here instead of just tunnels kind of making a corner. I think maybe we put a bigger room down here underneath this corner of the diorama. And I think that'll be pretty cool. But again, that's all tentative. And these brown bricks, like I had talked about in the last video, is tentative for where I want the trees to go. But that's probably going to change just based on the size of the trees that I want. So I guess we'll see. But time will tell about that. But I'm really excited to actually get started working on the rest of the mock here. So without me talking too much, we're going to jump back in and I will show you guys some more progress that I make. All right, so I'm going ahead and here is the newest part of the mock. It is a panel essentially of green plate, medium nougat, dark orange, and reddish brown. And I just used a couple snot bricks to attach that to the mock here. And I think it looks really good. I also went ahead and I added a little bit of variation in height into the 16x16s in the front here. And I think that really helps a lot. I think that makes it look really good. And that's also going to help disguise the tunnel as well. And that's going to give me more room for the tunnel and the height of it, because it's actually proven to be a little bit more taller than I was expecting it to be. So that's good. And then I think this having the mock bleed over onto the edge of the table is going to look really, really nice as well. And so now that this section is done, I want to go in and I want to finally start landscaping because I've been meaning to do that forever now. All right, so pretty much all I'm doing is just adding a bunch of different types of plate here. I've been buying a bunch of it, as you guys have been seeing on Bricklink and also from Lego. And so pretty much it's just a bunch of small brown plate, dark green plate, olive green plate, and also a little bit of regular green as well. but I am surprisingly short on regular green, so it's mostly just the other colors for the time being. And so I think this is looking really good, and we're going to pass right over the path in the middle here because I don't have nearly enough dark tan to do that right, and I want to wait until I know for a fact that I can do it right and make it look good. But I think it's going to look really good, and so I think it's going to be worth the wait. But as for the back section of the mock here, I'm going in and I'm adding a bunch of different sizes and shapes of plate, and I'm also kind of like making smaller mills plates on here as well with the 6x8s, 8x8s, and like 4x10s and stuff like that. And I'm just using the white studs that I found on the pick-a-brick wall, and that is helping a ton because I want to cover most of the dark tan. I don't want to cover all of it, but I do want to cover most of it so that it looks like it's mostly grass, and then the dirt, like the dried dirt, and then the mud is kind of like sticking through just a little bit. But I think this is looking really good so far, and I'm pretty much just going through and I am doing a pretty decent section here. I thought I bought a lot of plate, but turns out I bought nowhere close to the amount that I will actually need to finish this. So I'm going to have to order some more pieces, but I think this was a very good start. And as you guys can see, I am going in and changing the height of the 16x16s like I had told you. And so I think this is going to look really good. And then I want to the plates more towards the clone base, I want to actually raise those up even further than the brick that I had just done. So I think in total, that tallest point before the river is going to be about 10 bricks, maybe 11 at the most. But overall, I think this is looking really good, and I'm quite happy with it, actually. And it does look a little haphazard at the moment, but you will see in just a minute here, I'm going to go in and add a sample test of foliage for you guys. We're not going to be doing a lot of foliage in this video because I want to save that for its own video, and I also want to make sure that I'm happy with the landscape as it is. But we are going to go in and add a little bit of foliage just to show you guys what it's going to eventually look like. Because as it is right now, like it looks good, but it doesn't look as good as it's going to. And so that is what we are going to do once this time lapse is done. But pretty much I'm just going in and I'm finishing up this section here. I didn't go much farther beyond these first two sections here, the first two base plates. So we have a little bit more work to do on the rest of the mock, but I'm really happy with how it's shaping up so far. So this is what it's looking like so far. I gave you guys a couple different angles during the time lapse here, but I think this looks good, and it has a little bit of nice height variation in it as well. It's subtle, but I think it works, and there is going to be a little bit more height variation in that back region as well. So this is kind of sloping up from the path and then kind of just mostly flat, but there is a little bit of variation in it, as you can see right there. So it's the 1 plate, 2, 3, 4, and even 5, and then we raised up the 16x16s there like I had talked about. And I think this looks good. I think this looks really, really nice, and I'm happy with it. And so now that this is in, I want to do a little bit of a test sample of foliage in this corner here, maybe on like part of this first base plate here. And so we're going to go in, we're going to add a little bit of foliage. There's a little bit too much brown, I'm thinking, on this base plate for my liking, but I'm going to leave it as this for now because I want to see how it looks with all the foliage. So let me go and grab all those pieces and we can get started on that. All right, so I'm going in and I'm adding a bunch of foliage in, and I'm using the old grass stems because I used to get these on the pick-a-brick wall all the time, and I have a gallon bag of them, and I have so many. I prefer the new ones, but I used most of the new ones that I had in the city. So we're going to have to use the old ones here, but I think it works, and I think it looks good. And I also try adding in some ferns as well. I would love to use ferns for the entire thing, but they're 17 cents a piece from Lego, and I think they're more expensive on Bricklink. So unfortunately, that is just not in the question, but I could definitely space them out as we go along. I think they add a really, really nice touch to the mock. All right, so this is what it looks like now, and I think this looks really, really good, and I added the clone in there like you just saw, just to kind of give you guys a little bit of scale here and kind of to show you what we're working with right now. But I think the old grass stems work here, and I also added in a couple of the brown stems as well with the stud with the hole in them. I think that works for me, and I also added the ferns, obviously. I added 4 clusters of them. 3 of them have the 3 different ferns on them, and they're all stacked up and kind of angled in different directions. I did that 3 times, one there, and one right there. And then the fourth one has 2 on it, but I think that also works for me. I think that looks okay. And obviously, there's going to be trees. You know, it is Endor, and so that is going to be its own video because those trees are going to be so massive that it's going to need it. It's going to need its own video, so we're going to save that for its own video. So some of this will probably have to get redone because I do want to put a tree in the middle here, I'm thinking, or at least one like here and then maybe one there and then kind of going back and forth. But I think this looks really good, and I'm very, very happy with this. I do need to order some more green plate, green and dark green, but mainly regular green because over here I was just using 2x4 bricks because that was all I had left. But going back to the foliage, I think this looks really, really nice, and I'm very happy with how this is starting to turn out. All right, so I'm going through, and before I add all of the plate on top of these 16x16s, because I want to make them look green as opposed to dark tan. The dark tan was just because they were significantly cheaper. I'm going in and I am changing the height of some of the mills plating in the back here just to give it a little bit of extra depth. And then also when the trees are on it, it'll also make them just a little bit taller. So that's good. And now I'm going in and I'm adding a bunch of the green plate in, and also I'm using all different shapes and sizes like 2x4s, 2x3s, 1x2s, 1x4s, 1x1s. I'm also using cheese slopes in all sorts of colors. I'm also using bricks as well. And so that really helps get a nice bit of variation in the landscape here. And don't worry, this is not the final layer. Like I said earlier, we will be adding some foliage in. We will also be adding some rocks and then all the other stuff. But I'm going to save that for after the trees go in because I want to work around the trees. I don't want to have to build it, take it apart 4, 5 different times. So I'm just making my life a little bit easier. And now you're watching me time lapse the entire path here for this first section. I think this looks great. I'm using a lot of dark tan and also a hint of olive green as well. 2x3s, corner plates, and also the rounded 1x2s. I think that gives a really, really nice texture. And also the spots open, I'm leaving for the 1x1 tiles. I don't have those yet, but I do plan on buying a couple hundred of them to just scatter throughout here. I think that would help make it look really, really nice. So that is something to look forward to as well. And so this is what all that work has looked like. That was a couple hours of time lapsing actually and condensed down to a minute or two. And I'm really happy with how this is looking. Like I said, the path looks great. I'm very, very happy with it. I tried to make a gradual slope from the path up to the rest of the landscaping. And I think I did a decent job. It could be better, but given the space that I have, I'm happy with this. I think it looks fine. And it's pretty good. Like I said, once we get all the foliage in, it's going to look a lot better as well. So definitely stay tuned for that. But that is not going to be happening in today's video. That's going to happen more towards the end. But like I said, I'm extremely happy with this. I think it looks good. But now that this section is done, I want to shift my attention over to here, and I want to continue landscaping over in this area here. So that is what is next on the agenda here. Like I said, we have all different kinds of plates and different slopes and things like that. So we're going to be going in. We're going to be adding hundreds and hundreds of plates onto this section right over here. So without me talking too much, we're going to jump back into another time lapse, and I will show you guys all of the progress that I make. All right, so this section is coming along pretty nicely, actually. I'm happy with this. I think this is looking good. It's a lot of plate. It's a lot of 2x4s. I bought 350 of them, and so there is a lot going into this, and also all the other shapes and colors of plate as well. We're using green, dark green, reddish brown, a little bit of dark tan, and also a little bit of olive green as well. So there is also a hint of sand green as well, but that is very sparse at the moment. But I'm happy with this. I think this is looking really good. And my goal was to completely or like 99% cover the 16x16s that were dark tan, just so this actually looks like it's a grass planet, which Endor actually is. And then so once we get all the trees in, then we can actually make it look like a forest, which is my main goal. So I'm really, really happy with this. This is going to be really, really awesome. All right, so this is what the landscaping currently looks like, and I think this looks really, really good. I'm very happy with this. I think this section looks great. Ignore that. We will talk about that in just a second here. But this looks great in my opinion. I think this is really starting to come together. And then, like I said, I'm going to put a bunch of 1x1 tiles in here as well to help vary up the texture, because if it was all studs, I don't think it would look that great. So having a mix of studs and tiles, I think is really going to help this look good. And then the path is going to kind of curve down this way, like I said. And then so this whole section needs to wait until the tunnels go in, because once I can't put the plate on top until the tunnels are done. So this section is going to be on the back burner until the tunnels are done. So that whole thing, the landscaping for this side, and that will be its own video. And then the path will continue once I get more pieces, because I bought a couple hundred 2x3s, a couple hundred corner plates, and a couple hundred 1x2s, and I used them all. I used them all on these first 2 base plates here. I did also go ahead and make this one giant section here. So that is 1 unit. And then I also did the same for this right here. So that is 1 unit as well. And then I'm going to leave these base plates their own thing, and then that should be fine. But these 16x16 plates are actually for going above the tunnel. So just going to leave that there for the time being. But this section I did not do yet, because I will probably end up making this one section as well. So that one's 2 base plates wide, this one's 2 base plates wide, and then this one would be as well. But I have no idea how the river is going to go through until the clone base until I know where that's going to go. So that's why I didn't do this yet. That the river will also be the focus of one video, I think, just because I have no idea what it's going to be. I also don't have the pieces to make that happen at the moment. So that's why this is not done. So this will be its own video, and then the tunnels will be its own video, like I said. But this section I'm very happy with, and I'm leaving a lot of flat, empty spaces here for those trees. Now, these trees are... This was from Brick Sculpt's video. I'll put that video in the top right for you if you're interested in checking that out, because I think these designs are great. I really like this. A bunch of snot bricks in there that you can get from the Pick-a-Brick wall or from a bunch of other places. And this is a very good tree. However, this is far too small. And so I really like his idea, but I want to upscale it just a tiny bit. And we're going to do that in a very cool way, which I will save for the next video. So this video is coming out the first Saturday in March, which is, if you're watching it the day of, that's today. And the next video, which is coming out the first Saturday in April, is all about trees. So the trees are going to be the next video. I want to at least get the back done. I want to get the designs done, and I want to get a bunch of them in, especially on this front section and especially the back as well. So that is the next video. That is what's coming. So that's really awesome to see. I'm very excited about it. I've been playing with a couple designs, but I want to save it for that video. So I will keep that a secret for now. But if you guys are interested in getting a couple sneak peeks early, make sure to follow me on Instagram. It's the same name as the channel. And also over on the Instagram, you will be able to see updates and early views at these custom ATTEs by the talented Boosker. I will leave their information down in the description below as well. But these will, and also a third one, which has not been built yet, will have its own video coming out in 2 weeks from the day that this video goes live, which is March 1st. So 2 weeks from then is March 15th. So mark your calendars for that, for the videos on these epic ATTEs. These are fully custom. They have 2,500 pieces each, but I'll save all the details for that for its own review. And I will be reviewing all 3 of them, both the Clone Wars variant and also the episode 2 version, which has not been built yet. But if, at the time of filming this at least, but if you want to watch that video right now, you can become a channel member and you can watch that video and a bunch of videos regarding the city as well. So if that's something that you're interested in, watching these videos early and getting exclusive videos and behind the scenes updates and behind the scenes content and polls and all of the other fun exclusive things, becoming a channel member is something that you're not going to want to miss out on. So I will leave the information for that down in the description as well. And also, if you're just interested in Star Wars media and also Star Wars sets. I will leave affiliate links down in the description for all different kinds of sets that LEGO has out right now, ranging from battle packs to display sets with the midi scale, and also some collector's sets as well with the Tantive hallway with 5s. And so I will leave all of those down there in the description if you guys are interested. Some of them are actually on sale right now. That Tantive hallway that has the exclusive ARC Trooper 5s in it is 20% off right now. The battle pack with the Regs and Shock Troopers and the Battle Droids is also 20% off. Captain Rex's Microfighter is over 30% off, so that is something that you're not going to want to miss out on. Check the links below in the description to go to Amazon and check those out. The links do not cost you anything extra, but I will earn a small commission on any sales using those links. So if you guys would check that out, I would really, really appreciate it. And like I said, the information to become a channel member is also in the description, or you can click the join button next to the channel name. But that is going to wrap up today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked what I did with the landscaping, make sure to like the video and subscribe, as well as click the bell notification so you don't miss any future uploads, including the trees that are coming out next month. And so that is going to be really, really awesome. I'm very excited for it. They are going to be very tall. And so I'm not going to say how tall just yet, because that is going to be kept a secret, and the people on Instagram and also the channel members will get early access to that. But thank you guys again for watching. I really appreciate it. A lot of hours went into this. It might not look like a lot, but a lot of hours has gone into this, and I'm very happy with it. This is a strong foundation for the trees and what is to come. So seriously, I'm going to say it a third time. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really, really appreciate it, and I hope to see you next time. Bye for now.